All right, 8:05, I'm going to get started on this talk. I'm Chris McGrath, founder of Steamed. We are the creators of Drupal Contractors. Steamed is a new brand that was formed in 2019 to help us break out of Drupal as well as contract only and create a bit of a difference in the staffing market through the power of community, which has worked so well for us for other incarnations with Drupal and WordPress, where we also have the platform WP Contractors. There are 700 plus members all working together. We operate on Slack today, but as I said, we'll be launching this community platform to create what we feel is hopefully a better mode for collaboration and interaction than Slack. Slack will still be around, of course, just a little bit more of our tighter collaboration in the form of an office. Here we are, the code of conduct, expressly important. Everyone, please respect each other and try to have a great conference. Thanks to Mike and Amy June for putting this all together. Let's see here, Florida Slack channel. I don't know if you can see this floating thing here. Oh my God. Your waves, your ripples, they send ripples through the Florida camp. Contribution day, tomorrow. Show up. Another way to get great portfolio pieces is contributions to the product. Nothing on here. Always good. Get into your first time contributor workshop. Understanding workflow, things of that kind of stuff. And again, you know, I mean, I can tell you the point in my life where I've been able to accelerate my learning the most is when I had someone over my shoulder walking me through things that I otherwise may not see. Well, hey, the best engineers are mentors. There's no doubt about it. It really is something that is like anything, you have to slow down and remember the things that you're assuming, right? As you get more adept at your craft, you can't assume that everyone is there with you. And I think that that's, again, part of being a good engineer, right? Is to limit your assumption, make sure that they are qualified and communicated. And if they're not, then, you know, you're really kind of working in a silo and others may not understand and or be able to interact with you as best as they can. My mentoring history. I mentor a lot. I mentor all the time and I'm seeking mentoring all the time. I've probably always been doing this because it's something that is essentially a part of my personality. Before entering the Drupal world, I had a 15-year career in digital, worked for AT&T Digital. It was sort of a born into that. You know, grew up down the road from AT&T Labs, Bell Labs, and it was just like wires and communication were part of, you know, my curiosity always. After a career, you know, sort of in the dot-com era in Seattle and getting on with AT&T and doing a lot of different things, I had seen a lot of innovation that, you know, we didn't have any innovation at AT&T. All we had was a network that, you know, we reconfigured another way to be able to sell internet lines. But I sure saw a lot of innovation around me. And it was something that, you know, I always wanted to be a part of. But I'm not a back-end developer, I'm a front-end developer. So back in the days of Perl and things like that, you know, you really couldn't do a lot without enlisting, you know, other engineers. And that isn't always easy because they're not necessarily typically entrepreneurial. So, you know, it's something where you really have to find just that right partnership. So when modular code came along, that was something really exciting for me to be able to kind of, you know, mix and match and put things together. That, as I had been saying prior to other folks may have heard, the way I got jobs initially, you know, in the Drupal world, proving my legacy web skills and product management was really to just build products and, you know, use the facilities of Drupal and the functionality and, you know, build something fairly complex and show someone, hey, this is what I can do. Of across the stack. And, you know, I think that's what your job said. What do you say? And so, you know, that worked out well for me from there. I'm not one to kind of stay around and work for others too long. So quickly formed a digital media firm that then spawned a marketplace for Drupal, mainly feeding our own agency at first, but then, you know, it was something that grew to feed other agencies and employers, et cetera, and now has 400 plus Drupal developers there with, I would say, 40 employed at this point. So exciting stuff. And, you know, now we're beginning to take the organic leads that come along and move Drupal to other areas of digital development and delivery. I didn't say a lot about mentoring. Mentoring is essential, right? On the way up, you have to work with people that are younger. You have to find people that are more significant and experienced than yourself in their career timeline. And that's the only way you can learn when you're not in a formal learning setting. I also find it's more fun, right? It's less tense. You don't have tests and so on. You're just trying to learn. You're really asking for someone's help. And most of the time, you're going to have a reason that you need that. I want to get a job. I want to start a company. I want to take my company bigger, more public. I don't know, you know, whatever is your particular aspirations. I want to grow to 2 million instead of, you know, 50,000. So coaching, I mean, there are coaches all over the place doing all kinds of coaching. And I think it is, again, something that we never stop needing, right? You know, I'm a musician as well. And I remember being a young person and looking up to people that, you know, I knew could play music better than I could, and just say, wow, you know, how do you do this now? And you know, what do you wow, you're a master. And they would tell me, you know, you just never stop learning. So that was something that really became instilled in my mind as a very young person, you know, I don't know, 9-year-old or something like that. It was like, wow, you know, I mean, I can't get out of this school stuff and just stop learning and I'm good. No, you know, it's a craft. This music thing is a craft, and development is certainly also a craft, as well as business, which, you know, some of my other talks have always focused around, you know, how to find jobs, how to find clients, you know, if you're a freelancer, and, you know, that again, something we can never stop being good at, or developing our abilities within. I mean, hopefully we're good at it, right? So let me see here. Anything else I didn't mention? Trainers. I mean, trainer, you know, Mike, I think, is kind of a trainer, right? He offers a course where you come and you train to learn, you know, the basic fundamentals of working with current Drupal system and how you might apply them. I think that, you know, probably an example of a few things on this slide, but that's a bit of a different thing, right? You know, coaches are here to be there all the time, shadowing you, making sure you play a good game. And trainers, you know, they showed up to get you to a certain place in your evolution. And, you know, then they have to go on to continue training others. So they can't always be there, you know, in that slot as a coach. And, you know, Tyler, one of my friends here, you know, excellent developer with excellent feedback from a client, you know, multiple client settings. I'm sure he would agree. You know, we all can use coaching all the time. I'm looking for everyone on my team personally, just to know, you know, how did that come across? What could I take away from, you know, that interaction, in your opinion? People that I trust, people that I don't even know, you know, out of the mouth of babes, you know, people that are very new to a setting. You know, I love to hear from different opinions all the time, because you never know what touch point, what point will, you know, be a game changer, even a small one. Yeah, and I think that, you know, there are a lot of people out there nowadays. We're seeing more and more, as we are, you know, part of the talent management space, these, you know, career counselors and so on. That's something that we do organically as well, where, you know, someone needs help understanding what should be on their resume. Maybe they're newer to the inside track, we'll call it, of the Drupal world, where, you know, you've got a Drupal.org profile and you show up at all the camps and the cons, you know, everybody knows your face and your name and all that kind of stuff. Heck, some of those people, even some of the resumes that we see, can really use an eye that thinks about that quite a bit. to be able to kind of, again, execute well, because once that is your brochure, right, when you're trying to search for a job out there. And a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people with amazing skills as well. It's just like the skills. There's so many skills. It's like, oh my God, I got to go get a cup of coffee in between this resume. So that's something that also can use some attention and help, usually, especially for folks, in a more technical space where they don't really think about, the keys to selling themselves in a market. Mentoring is relationship focused, right? You're really looking for a friend. And I can tell you, it has really nothing to do with age, right? Some of my best mentors have been people that are younger than me, people that really, you don't have any kind of thing like the career that I've had, right? But they are current, right? They understand how to do what we need to do today, and the things that they've learned might just be exactly what is required. And I know a whole lot of other stuff that may not be required at the moment. So that's incredible. That's something that people that are on my team still today that came from, I'm sure I gave them their first chance. Believe me, it paid off for me, in multiple categories always. And also, naturally, it's a trust situation, right? You're trusting these people to feed you information, and most of the time, they're going to act on that information, right? And that's important, because every time you do that, you're sticking your neck out, right? You're going to say, "Oh yeah, I know how to do that, no problem." Whatever that particular thing is, we're talking about Acquia BLT the other day. It's like, sure, yeah, okay. So, you never know when you may need that person that really has experience with all of that, recently, not last year or something. And therefore, I think, just trying to be someone that's likable and willing to offer assistance always pays dividends. You kind of reap what you sow. I'm full of all these old sayings. I was raised by my grandmother, so, there were plenty of those around. And that is one of them. You get back what you give. And I think that's what all of this is about, right? And any one of those people that I have extended myself to, and have even, asked them to extend themselves to me, right? Where they are younger than me, or they are not technical, right? They're business, and they want to understand this world, let's say, for example, to be able to leverage it. And come to me. That's going to take my time, right, to be able to help someone from a different world understand this. But in any case, done that, and as I say, posited on that side of things, it's always paid me dividends, tenfold and more. Types of mentorship, sure. You can sign up. There are all kinds of people, selling their time to be mentors. And this is a great thing, because especially engineers, right? Most of us really only make money when we're putting hands to keyboard. And last thing we really want to do, for the most part, unless it's going to behoove us personally, in other words, training someone up to work on our project, it's not going to be something that, sure, no problem, I'll put in a few hours tonight to help you out. It's just not really the way the world works for the most part, right? There are a few people that really fall into that kind of level of Samaritan that just sort of do it for, mutual benefit, or benefit of the world, so to speak, or the individual. So I think that's a good thing. If you can find somebody that does that. I used to be involved with Build a Module and Chris Shattuck, and he had this was, back in Drupal 7 days, and he had a formal network of mentors that you could pay right along with his learning learning modules. And I thought that was very useful, right? It was something that, hey, if you're just not getting it and you are alone, right? You don't have a bunch of friends that are Drupalers. What are you going to do, right? You certainly can't call him. So, it was necessary and important that he created something like that. So I wouldn't shy away from it. I don't think that this is something that, invalidates, oh, they want money, so they're not good. No, definitely not. I think it's something that, again, interning, things like that where you know, okay, you know, I understand who's going to be on this project and in this setting. I can go look. We're so lucky, I say constantly, to have Drupal.org and have our profiles that can act as these types of historical pedigrees as to what we've done. You know, we know, let's say, for example, what Mike's done, what Albert's done, what Tyler's done, you know, because they take time to let people know, or they're contributing code, you know, on the product. So you can see, you know, folks, you know, in our network, like John Pugh, you know, 27,000 commits. I haven't checked on Albert's lately, but somewhere up there. So, you know, I mean, this is important. We can justify giving them our time or some money to be able to get them to put their attention on us. And that's, hey, that's important, you know. I mean, that's what I had to get out. You know, I had to go to work somewhere, you know, where he was getting paid for him to help me out. But that's significant because we mentor each other all the time. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Shadowing, you know, shadowing an experienced developer. I said that when we first got started. I mean, new platforms, new tools all the time, new version, new front end, you know, paradigm, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, essentially, you know, what we can keep in our head probably diverges. You know, there are a few of us, we get asked basically 15 times a day at Drupal contractors and esteemed for full stack developers, and actually trying to find someone that actually has that mastery is another story. So, you know, I think being able to shadow someone and understand who you are, what your strengths are, you know, from the best that you can find and gain access to. Often this type of situation is going to be on a collaborative project, for example, or a job where, you know, again, a mid-level individual is most likely tied to, you know, a junior, or a senior to a mid-level. And, you know, that each hierarchy above is looking for that one below to have a certain level minimum skills. But from there, they should be able to keep up, work, and continue to iterate and learn as they go. Mentorship and the different types. And, you know, I'm learning about these sort of terms myself, but as we do that, you know, this is part of why mentoring is good and why, you know, it pushes me as someone that is informally, as our last slide indicated, mentoring all the time. I mean, I call it informal. It's pretty formal, right? It's a company. I don't really have time to mentor people outside of my company other than my kid, who needs a lot of that. So, you know, it is something that I'm thinking about constantly, that definitely it's a matter of how closely are you able to work with that person, right? Usually someone that has knowledge that you need or energy that you need, because this talk is about both, right? Becoming a mentor or being a mentor. And what is that? And how does that manifest across your career in different incarnations and periods and opportunities? So, you know, the anchor, I mean, I think that Albert's on the call. It's nice. You know, he's my partner's been for a long time, you know, almost 6 years now or so, maybe more. And definitely an anchor, right? It's, you know, we came together in a paradigm that's reflective of this space, which would be back and front. And then we proceeded to have, you know, more evolutionary experience where I'm a more experienced entrepreneur. He's entrepreneurial, right? We're mentoring one another back and forth all the time. Talk about, you know, someone listening to your frustrations, et cetera. I mean, this is something that, you know, it is a friendship, but it is also something that we know we have a common goal, right? That we're looking to skills to create something that can provide for our future and for our families as well, their future. So let's see, the champion. Yeah, you know, and I've had people like this in my life that saw something in me, if you will, and came to me, and they're old people, right? And they were like, I just want to be your friend. You know, I mean, I'm from the East Coast. Like, that's funny. You're like, what? Why? You know, what are you talking about? I don't understand it. What do you want from me? Right. And really, that's what they wanted. The same thing that I do, you know, with young people, which is just somewhat of a fresh perspective, probably many other motivations behind it, I'm sure. But generally, you know, to be helpful, right? To help people that you see something within, or that, let's say, for example, someone else saw something within that you trust, like a professor, like a Mike, or other professors who brought people to us that, you know, they was, hey, you should take a chance on this person. And we're like, all right, you know, well, again, when we look at your pedigree within this space, in this community, it's impressive. So I might as well listen to you. That seems like reasonable advice. Let's take a chance, right? And luckily for us, you know, maybe Lee's here. We've had other people from the community do that with young people, and it's been a phenomenal, mutually beneficial thing for them and for us. Inspiring. Yeah, you know, I mean, sometimes someone comes along, they're just inspiring. We had, you know, we have so much going on at Esteemed. We had someone in the past week to month for a few, you know, that I've known for a few years, and come in, and, you know, they really have an impressive data science background, for example, a space that we're very curious about. And we don't really have anyone there in that area in our organization. So, you know, when we see that, it's inspiring to stand things up, you know, push towards a goal, get this project rolling so that they can have it and don't lose interest, for example, right? So that kind of stuff I think is very important, you know, and think of it as a catalyst. Partner. No, I think, again, that's part of the shadowing, you know, somebody that's going to be, hey, you know, I mean, I see Albert do this more so than I do, but I guess I do the same. You know, we're still working in that front end, back end paradigm where, you know, he's asking some question about, you know, the validity of a piece of code. And, you know, I even see that myself where, you know, somebody like Albert, 25-year developer, you know, and like, is this valid? And, you know, the developer's going to say, yes, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, good. So same here, you know. Hey, it may not seem important, but we need more padding here, you know, whatever the case may be, to make sure that the product, you know, is really coming off as well as it should. And again, you know, that person below me that is probably in, you know, some sort of director level, right? They appreciate that, because I remember being myself in that place where it's like, are you kidding me? This seems like so tangential, trivial. You must be kidding that we care about, you know, this spacing, you know, or that, or what have you. But no, when I realized what that did to improve the presentation, I realized, you know, my internet decides to be good and bad sometimes. So if there's ever any issues, just maybe let me know if you can, or I'm gone and sorry. Chemistry, willingness, timing, benefits. Hey, you know, you're asking for someone to help you. You're asking for someone to put input, you know, into your life and help you benefit your career. What can you do for them? Number one, if it's not monetarily based. Number two, hey, you know, make sure this person doesn't infuriate you or, you know, is a teacher that you just cannot understand, right? You know, this is just something that is a relationship, right? There's definitely a level of chemistry, willingness, you know, hey, if someone's willing to, by all means, show up, you know, otherwise, I think that's pretty much the way that works in my mind. If they're not willing to, they're not going to be there. So won't work. Timing, I think, feeds into that. I want to be sensitive to people's time and lives. But, you know, there really are people that do benefit from this and appreciate the ability to help others. And I think that again, works both ways, right? You know, young people have to be willing to offer themselves in order to really expect to benefit by this type of arrangement. So, you know, that's the other thing. You have to have some sort of an awareness on that front to really be a fit for this type of paradigm. The benefits, certainly, and we've gone over them a couple of times already. So, you know, I mean, these can be lifelong, okay? I mean, you know, when you strike up a relationship with someone in this kind of context, whether they're older or younger, you know, at a same place, you know, a co-mentor, similar place to your own career, this is going to be something that pays dividends for life, most likely, you know, if you've played your cards right and you've been an individual that's really has their heart in the right place, their mind in the right place, and is doing their best. I mean, it doesn't really matter how good you are at something per se, as long as you're, as they say, good enough. And so I think that's something to keep in mind, that we can't all be, the best. But in the end, if we show up and we give it our all, most likely people are going to see that and appreciate that. And I personally have been in that setting a number of times where this is technology. You cut or you don't on a project. And sometimes, there's been a scenario where something's moving too quickly, et cetera. I don't have that skill. And it's like, look, I wish we had more time to help you. And so you're going to have to exit. And that, that's nothing to worry about. It's just like, hey, it wasn't the right fit, right? So that's, again, another benefit, right? They're just trying to help you understand that that's the way of this space, right? That it's not personal. Hey, leadership skills, presentation skills, do I really want to get up at 6 o'clock to do this? Yeah, I do, because even though for a second that means I didn't get enough coffee or something, I know that communicating with people on this level and reminding some of the more mature folks out there how important this is, especially in our community, is there's barely anything more important. So, I think that is why we do a lot of what we do at Esteemed, far more than, hey, let's find you a job. We really want to do all that we're doing here. We want to extend ourselves as mentors, find other mentors, find young people to help elevate us, right? Advancing our own careers and helping them at the same time by noticing different things about them. Have they articulated various opportunities that they've been a part of and projects, as well as the basics, what do we see out there that really helps people achieve their goals, get a job or be able to go out on their own, from their company as a contractor and, build a business. And I think that is something that really gives a lot of satisfaction. I mean, I felt it fell into mentoring situations that I didn't necessarily intend. It was more like, well, we need someone that's capable and this is who we can afford. And sometimes circumstances will put you into a place where, you're overwhelmed. You have to take more of a chance than you anticipated on that junior resource, for example, and say, hey, by the way, Josh Kendall, you're in charge of this project now. So inside you, but that is something, it's something that, it's like you take a chance and it pays off and it is on a person. This really feels good. This is good for everybody. They really appreciate that, be there for you. When things, there's always rainy days, right? There's always times when you need your network, right? When you need help from the people that understand you and are working in the same field, maybe in the same organization, et cetera. So, I need all of the people around me every day. And they, as you start to really grow a network of this type, it's astounding, how much you can really help one another and level up. Getting started. There's a lot of different possibilities of trying to do that. I think, once again, am I the best technical mentor these days? Probably not. I can bring a lot to the fold as far as structure and process and so on, but I don't know the latest twig, for example, or what have you. So, know what you're good at. Well, and that's in it for you. As I said, some of those good feelings to be able to say, hey, this is part of my personality. I go volunteer for code.org, teach young people, become, continually astounded by what 12-year-olds know, and like, what is the need for college when you know Python, and you've been working on it for 6 years, by the time you graduate high school. So these types of things are interesting. Again, back to our other slide, a fresh perspective. What are you interested in? How can you work? How often? What time do you have? Because you can't overcommit, right? You can't lead people on and let them think you can help and not be able to be there for them, or say, hey man, I got that release today, or, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to help you. And, maybe they were really counting on that information to be able to excel and do what they're doing, deliver on what they're involved in. And so, you got to be very careful with how you deal with people. It's people's lives. Quick wins. Where are you trying to grow? What is it that you can do now in an executable period of time? Something you understand how to achieve, rather than, I'm going to go after this larger goal, something that's a little more nebulous, because these types of things naturally build confidence, right? You're going to be quick win. Let's, on a project-based level, let's try to really, redesign something, get a fresh look, take a small thing, make a tweak. This is something that, hey, the next day we push it out, we can feel about it, right? Evaluation. And what's your criteria? What's your criteria for being a good mentor? What's your criteria for selecting a good mentor? Many people will be looking at it from a skill-based perspective. I need to learn front end. I need to learn, custom module development. Will this person talk to me, right? And I think that's a little right. We can. This isn't easy to do. It's not easy to find someone that will languish attention on you, without compensation. So I think it's about finding those people that have their heart in the right place and understand, especially in the Drupal community, how critical that need is to be able to help elevate the people in our midst to evolve their skills. I mean, it's just absolutely key. So I think it's a matter of understanding what is that criteria on both sides of things. And again, try and extend yourself. If you're on the grouchy side, let's be less grouchy so that we can, really help people. And if you're more timid and, you couldn't dream of like putting yourself out there to, find a mentor, which may inevitably grow yourself into being one, then, try to level up there, try to stretch your skills a little bit, because it really is needed. And it's something that, you have no idea necessarily what that might push in your career and help to evolve. I think it's pretty indicative as to, what we might get out of a mentor. Again, I recall when I was first learning about the internet, and about HTML, and that is how old I am. This is really something that was absolutely brand new. And it certainly wasn't too difficult, but it was, something that, there's a lot to learn and understand. It certainly helps to have anybody who's even been on it for a year, more than you, to help, disseminate the skills and the advice and, coach again along the way. No, if you just did that, or you're missing this, etc. And that, again, those small wins, right? Continuously giving that confidence to go out there and take bigger and bigger risks with yourself, right? Again, a lot of the same stuff. Building your network, somebody that you have learned under or learns under you, you trust them, right? You know what they can do. Even if someone else doesn't see it, you do, right? And you can say, no, this person you may not see, or they may only have 3 years, 4 years experience, but no, you have no idea what this person can do. Believe me, trust me, right? And if they trust you, which many cases might be common because, again, you are that more senior individual that has a bigger network, you're further along on your timeline, that's going to go a long way in various settings, right? Is it to give that mentee a chance? Is it to give a validation and endorsement to that mentee, to a potential employer, et cetera? And, certainly happen to be a staffing organization, but, this happens all the time informally. So I think that, getting started, you dive in, you look for opportunities, Google, one of development's key skills. So I think there's plenty of opportunity out there, and it's a matter of really, once again, we're very lucky in our space here of engineering to be able to have, projects and opportunities where people do not know everything all the time, right? They're trying something for the first time, but may have 20+ years experience with development. Mutual mentoring. So, I've been touching on this throughout the talk, and I feel like we do this all the time in my organization, right? We're a startup. I've been part of many different startups, and it's always something where, you're looking for people that are a fit, right? They see the vision. They may not be the most perfect at this particular thing that they do, as I'm not, right? Or Albert and I, we're always trying to co-mentor one another to help, us grow into these of leaders, right, in this organization, and specifically even an industry that we're not necessarily, we didn't come from the staffing industry, for example, right? We came from technology and building things. So, it's a big deal, right? It's a challenge. We're just like, yeah, hey, we're awesome at this, but we really need mentors and people that will help us understand this vernacular in this setting, just as we do them. As I had mentioned, there's business people that don't understand anything about Drupal or much about any of the CMS stuff. So I think that that's also material, right? Let's see here. How many of these do we have left? Wow, that's a lot of slides. Okay, we can't do all these slides. So how do we facilitate mentoring? I think that's about, what we're talking about here. Look for opportunities, find them, look at them, evaluate them. Here we are, we have Esteemed, we have Drupal.org tomorrow, camps, con, get involved. We have Drupal Z, again, a really solid and well-known opportunity to hone fundamentals. And of course, Gloria Tucker is presenting at this camp. It's her first talk. She did this since the beginning of her career, came to us from another community member, Lee Walker. And, she's out here giving talks now, doing all this stuff that we just reviewed. So exciting. Yeah, this is kind of a cheesy book, right? This guy's a salesman. And if you're a contractor, then being a salesman is part of your life. But on the other hand, understanding the concept of 10X, I feel, is valuable for anyone. I've had various engineers be like, yeah, that was cheesy. I was like, yeah, I know it's cheesy. But on the other hand, what it is to actually understand how people can think, and to think how I'm not succeeding as I think I would like. What if I was to do this 10 times more than I do now? Everything. What might that yield? And I think that, I can testify to the fact that if you just did it 5 times more, it would yield a lot. We're always, as I said, we did this talk in the beginning, looking for interns, plenty of mentors to be found here. This is something that we're formalizing more and more every day in our offering, and we know is such a vital part of our community. So I know I'm almost out of time here, but if there's any questions, I did want to open that up and, just take a couple if there's any here. Are these all guys all muted, Mike, or is just everyone so incredibly satisfied by that talk that there just are no questions?
Can you hear me?
So
I'm reading through the chat, right? What's that? Can you hear me?
I can't really see the chat, actually.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we just have, all right.
Cool.
Is there someone in the session who could talk about the Slack group and how mentoring connections work? That's a question from the chat.
Oh, sure. Well, Slack is, Slack, right? We have about 800 folks there, and they're split up into channels, just like Drupal.org, Slack, or any other organization. As far as mentoring is concerned, it's really something where, as I said, we normally have a product that is centered around Drupal. That's something that we have been adjusting over time, looking to embrace more of the stack with our product out there. But we did finally find a new use for Drupal, and again, this community project that we're embarking on next week. So that is something where, you can get involved. There's certainly paid opportunities at our organization where, there's a lot of mentoring going on a continual basis, but this is one of those that is a lot more structured towards mentoring formally, again, to formally embrace an internship type paradigm. So we're going to make it agile. It's going to be 9 weeks, and it is something that's, meant to emulate an actual live project, which, because it is a live project. And, You will be in a setting where you are dealing with busy executives that, you know, are mid-level people, right? Where those different mentoring might come from different facets. You're going to have, you know, somebody that's working in knee deep in the weeds on the code. You're going to have somebody like Albert come in and do code review. I'm going to be there. Other individuals talking about sort of more abstract parts of maybe the future state of the system, such as behavioral modeling, data science, et cetera. Where is that going? How would we use that? How would it help? So, you know, I think that's how it works. And I think from there, we're looking to have, you know, this talk and our, you know, this organization, our own, is only 10 months old or a year old. So we're doing quite a lot of things. And one of them we know is to help foster the workforce so that we can help grow it, support the product. And that's something that we know we have to do every day. So pretty much about as open to mentoring as you could get.
One more final question
Any
for
other
you.
questions? I don't.
One more final question. What instruments do you play? You mentioned that you played some musical instruments.
I play the guitar. Yeah, I play the guitar since I was about 6.
Yeah.
I bought a drum set supposedly for my kid, but I think I play it more than he does. I play a little bit of piano and then I sing. You know, I was like front guy. So back
Cool.
in the day. But
Okay, well,
yeah,
I think this could be for an Ignite talk later. Maybe you can like play some jams.
That's always the dude. We can rip out the 80s shows, you know, and so on.
Yep.
It's always a fun time.
Okay. Well, thanks, Chris.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, everybody.
Mike's.
Especially me, though.
We got Mikes and Matts around here. Less Matts today in this talk. Thanks for everybody for joining me today. It's been wonderful. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you on Steam Slack, Drupal.org Slack. Yeah, anybody that's interested in collaborating on this project, hit us up.